Sorry.
All right. All right, this is Christina here with Rock On Coast Magazine, and we are here once again with our friends Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. How you guys been doing since? Actually, it's been a while since we've actually spoken.
It has been a while.
And a lot's gone on since then.
Yeah.
A lot of things have gone on. But what I want to tell you guys is that I was really looking forward to the release before it came out. Very impressed. Very happy with it, as was our reviewer, who absolutely loved it.
Sweet.
But a little different than the last one.
Yeah.
But for us, in a very good way. I mean, we love the old stuff and we love the new, so now we kind of have the best of both worlds.
Sweet.
So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about what's been going on since the release, because you guys have had a tremendous amount of activity going on lately.
Yeah, you can say that. Well, John?
We've done all kinds of stuff, all kinds of touring. We actually did an awesome world tour a couple months ago, which is really cool. We went to the Philippines, Singapore, we did Soundwave in Australia with bands like Nine Inch Nails.
Wasn't that your first time at Soundwave?
Yeah.
So you had tried to go before, right?
Yeah.
And then it kind of fell through?
I tried to go. It was a long story, but you know, we promised that we would go back first. And our album came out in February, and in February we were in Australia. So I mean, that was part of the whole reason why we weren't in the U.S. when our album came out. Because we really wanted to, you know, to hold up with our promise. So the very first tour we did, other than Japan, promoting the new album, was Australia.
Well, you know, I know that when you guys couldn't go that one year, the fans were just devastated. So I'm sure they were thrilled to have you guys out there.
I think so. We did a couple of you know, side shows as well. Right. And we headlined all of those, and it was really fun. We got to hang out with Jack's Mannequin and Bayside.
Very cool.
Which are two of our favorite, like, not only bands, but, you know, people to hang out with.
Right.
Both of the bands are awesome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, you always hope that you go out and tour with your friends, but that doesn't always happen, so it's, you know, it's cool when you get to do that. But now, Soundwave, was that quite an experience for you? Because I've never had the pleasure of going, but, you know, it seems like one of the best festivals to actually go to, let alone play.
It's pretty wild. I don't know.
The fans seem to receive you guys as well as they had seemed like they were looking forward to it.
I think so. I mean, we had pretty huge crowds. I don't know. Joey, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, it's rad. I think, too, just the vibe's good. Like, Warped Tour, I mean, it's just been around for a while. Everybody knows what it's like. But to have that kind of group of people, kind of like a Warped Tour overseas, I think everybody's just a little more excited about being somewhere new and different.
Yes, that's
it definitely shows through. It's pretty interesting.
Well, it's like that kind of, you know, anywhere other than the U.S., though, really, don't you think? I mean, they don't have, I guess, now they're getting more and more acts that are, you know, a little more wide range, but they really hunger for U.S. music anywhere overseas.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. I don't know. Americans are cool, man.
Oh, well, we love Americans.
We know how to do it. We know how to make the rock and roll, you know.
No, of course. Well, speaking of rock and roll, what was it that kind of drove you guys to get a little more, I don't know, rock flavor in this record that came out? Because, you know, for me, I'm older than you guys, and I grew up in the 80s rock era. That was my time. So, you know, that's kind of always where my heart is. And I like it when the bands can, you know, kind of infuse that into the alternative and modern sounds today. So what kind of drove you to that? Is that where your heart kind of is, back there somewhere? Your influences?
I guess some of it, huh?
Some, yeah.
I guess it all does boil down back to that, whether you even realize it or not. You know, the bands you like those bands, you know?
Right.
I think you have to know where you came from when it comes to rock and roll.
Right.
All of us have been kind of like, you know, going back and listening to the Beatles and Boston and, you know, Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. So I think, you know, we're just really into finding out where our style of music came from.
Right.
I don't know. I think there was one particular track on the album where we portrayed quite a bit of that, but I don't also think that, in my opinion, on the new album, we did exactly what we did last time, which every song's different.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, with that being said, like, it really depends on the track. I mean, if you're talking about No Spell, it's not anything like what we just discussed.
Right, exactly.
If you're talking about Godspeed, if you're talking about Believe, if you're talking about Step Right Up, I've already named 5, I can go on, you know.
Yeah.
Basically, there's only one other track that has the mainstream alternative feel, which is Pull Me Back. So there's 2 tracks on an album of 11 that are pretty alternative. And then other than that, there's a couple of ballads, there's a couple of pop rock songs, and there's a couple of heavier songs. So, I don't know. For me personally, it's exactly the same. I don't see any difference at all. I've definitely heard quite a few people not agree with that, but also most of the people who don't agree with that, not all of them, but I would say 7 out of 10 were never fans to begin with.
Yeah,
and they don't even really know any of our songs other than one that everybody knows, so it's not even really a choice, I guess, at this point to know it. because it was just that kind of song where everybody knows it and you couldn't get away from it. So,
right, of course.
I mean, you don't have to be a Fall Out Boy fan to know Sugar We're Going Down. You know what I'm saying? So it's that type of scenario.
Right.
We have that one song that everybody knows, and that's it. And even the people who know it don't necessarily know what it's about or what it means or anything about it. So I don't consider them a fan. Just because you were walking through a Walmart and you heard Face Down
doesn't mean
you thought to yourself, yeah, this band's cool, doesn't mean you were a fan.
Right.
It's just you liked it because everybody else liked it first, which is why it was being played. So with all that being said, for me, it's the same thing. I don't see a difference. It's the same people making the same music.
I look at things a lot differently than a lot of, I don't know, critics, or lack of a better word. I don't even like to consider that what we do, reviews, whatever. I just like to give an honest opinion about the music that we hear. And we listen to everything thoroughly, whether we're a fan or not. So I ended up becoming a fan of a lot of bands I like. And, the one thing that I really, I don't know, for me, it's kind of something that hits a nerve with me, is people who do just what you said, who don't even really know your music from past or present, really. A lot of times when people interview you or do reviews, they don't really even listen that much.
Yep.
So for them to cast an opinion when they don't really know what they're talking about, that kind of frustrates me. So, if I don't know a band that well and I'm asked to review it, I'm going to listen to that record a lot.
Yeah.
And all their past work. I kind of think that's what you guys deserve,
Yeah, I agree. So, I mean, I think I'm a pretty big fan of the statement that if you listen to a band long enough, you can find something you like. And whether it's the drum track, or the guitar track, or the vocals, or the lyrics, I mean, if you hate on a band long enough, you'll find plenty of things to hate. But if you listen and you try to just listen to what they created and vibe on whatever level they're vibing on, you will find something that you like, unless you're just in a negative mood. And if you are, whatever. You
and I think very much alike, because I think that way about music in general. When we do, I think that's kind of why I started doing what I do, because I really don't like people criticizing other people's art or their work for the sake of criticizing it. And I kind of think music in general, because we cover all rock, every genre of rock. And I'm not a fan of every genre of rock, but I still find redeeming qualities in what people are doing as an artist. So, and the same thing with fans. I'm sure all the artists get that with fans. Well, this is so different, or, do they really know how different it is? Do they really listen to it? Were you're true fans and that kind of thing? So I look forward to when artists might expand and branch out, make little changes here and there and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of, what you guys should do. You grow as you go along, right?
Well, good, because there's going to be a lot more of that happening.
Well, we're going to talk about that, aren't we?
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. What are you guys planning on now? Because the record's been out for a while. You guys have done different tours like we talked about. You also went out with one of my favorites, Monty R.I.
Yeah.
Good guys. I love
September 22nd.
The record.
I didn't see that. I know their album. You don't see. I don't have a little note sheet.
Exactly. I've already listened to it, and I think it's wonderful. I
love it too.
Waiting for years for this. So
it's actually the third time we brought them out on tour.
Oh, really?
They've always been good friends of ours over the years. They were one of the first bands that ever toured with us when we were in a band and they were in a band, and we both literally had just been signed, both of us, in within a 6-month time frame, and then we were stuck out there together. So there was a lot of growing and learning about being in a band together with their band and our band, and we respect them, and I hope that everybody buys their album on September 22nd.
I'm really doing what I can to try and promote that, because I think that, they almost were just too much overlooked for my taste, because, it's been a little time since